I wanted to share something that we recently started implementing around here for helping our kids to keep up with the chores and pull some of the weight around the house that actually everybody is pretty excited about. It's called Greenlight, and it's basically a parent-regulated debit card for kids, but for us, it's more of a chores-regulated card for kids. So I'm going to show you exactly how we use Greenlight in order to encourage our kids to not only do their chores, but to be financially savvy at the same time. So if you're wanting to find a way to implement a little positive reinforcement and hopefully ease your part when it comes to getting your kids to pull their weight, then go ahead and click the thumbs up button and let's dive in. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mia, and I help you to create clutter-free and holistic spaces. Now, I'm going to show you behind the scenes on the parent version of this app so you can see how it all works together and how it synergistically encourages them to help out around the house and help to keep the space more clutter-free. But I just wanted to tell you kind of like our thought process and how we got to using this app, because it wasn't something that we were seeking out necessarily. My youngest daughter is really great at saving. So she has a lot of cash that's saved up from holidays, birthdays, just, different times that she's earned allowance and has saved the cash. And she likes to purchase things online. So she plays a lot of games. She likes to buy mods sometimes for the games, just small purchases here and there. And what we've been doing up until this point is when she wants to purchase something online, since she didn't have a card, is she would just give us the cash and then we would go and do it for her. She really wanted to have something that she could use on her own and to get rid of some of the actual cash that she was carrying around. So we were looking for a prepaid reloadable card, and I was looking at the Visa cards and the gift cards that you could buy at the store, and none of them are really established to be reloadable. So if you buy like a Visa gift card at the store, you can't reload it. You have to go buy another one when that one runs out, and you're paying an additional $2.95 every time you go buy another card. So we chose to not go that route, and we started looking up other options. So while we were looking up options for just reloadable prepaid cards, I came across this Greenlight card. Never heard of it before. And I started reading into all of the functionality that it provided as far as, you can enter in different chores, you can set weekly allowances and have a payday. You can do one-time tasks that the pay has gone to them immediately. They can create their own little savings accounts. I'm going to show you all of this when we get into the app. But there were just so many different functions in addition to the fact that we could take lump sums of cash and put it on the card, and she would be able to have the freedom to make her own purchases with her own money. So, it just kind of introduced us to this whole concept of next level financial savviness for our kids. Up until this point, before, we were using Google spreadsheets and just kind of doing it on our own. So if my kids would earn an allowance, we would type it in the spreadsheet on the Google spreadsheet. And it was a lot of work for me because I was the one who maintained it, constantly going back and forth. And if my daughter spent something, then taking it off and, back and forth. Anyway, this seemed like it was just going to kill all of the birds with one stone. We would be able to take lumps of cash, put it on the card. We wouldn't have to keep up with the spreadsheet anymore. And we would be able to implement chores, which is really huge. It's a really huge weight off of my shoulders to not feel like I have to continuously be on top of it, be reminding people, be making lists every week of the things that need to be done when it's the same stuff every week, because this app has a loop function to where it'll repeat the same tasks every week on automation. So I'm really excited about it. Obviously, the kids are super excited about it because they have their first ever debit cards. If they're out with their friends and they need some cash because they've decided to go to a theme park or the mall or whatever, I'm able to just send them that cash without having to drive out there to their friend's house. I can just send it across the app. So it has so many different functions that really work well if you have kids at that age that are going to be spending money. Okay, now there was a little finagling in order to get the chores set up just the way that we wanted. So let's go ahead and dive into the app and I'll show you how we finagled this, how we're using it, and what's worked and what we wish was a little bit better.
So here is the Greenlight app, and this is what it'll look like from the parent's dashboard. You'll see a list of your kids that you have all set up on the account. You get to choose a background image for them. Up here at the top is your parent's wallet. So the way that it works is you transfer over a certain amount of money that is kind of held in this holding area in your parent's wallet of the Greenlight app, and that's where they pull the money to send to your kids' cards whenever you pay them out for allowance or send them money in any way. So you can see it'll show the current balance up top, and then you can add money in 50, 75, 100, 150 by just tapping the button, or you can use the little green link which is what I usually use to just enter a custom amount. And then it'll show you down at the bottom what card it's actually coming out of. So that's how you add money. Now, if you forget to add money and you go to transfer money over to your kids, it'll notify you and it'll give you an option just to push a single button that will automatically transfer enough to cover what you're trying to send them. You can also set up auto funding, and you have different options as far as funding your parents' wallet. So you can set up to add money when the balance gets low. So if it gets below a certain amount, then it automatically re-ups itself. You can have money added at the first of every month. You can turn on this option down here to pay when the parent's wallet is short, and it'll transfer over a certain amount of money whenever you go to send a payment to your kid if you're short. And then it'll show at the bottom again what card it's coming from. So I don't have any auto funding set up. I like to take it as it comes. Whenever I need to send money, then I worry about transferring over more money. You can manage your auto funding accounts using the link right above that. You can have multiple different accounts. And so like for us, Matt and I both have the app on our phones, and we're both able to add our own debit cards, credit cards, whatever, if we wanted to. I think I'm the only one that actually has one uploaded right now. And then at the bottom, you can see funding history. You can just see like a total of how much you've sent over and the dates and all of that in case you forget. So it does keep a little tally for you there. And it'll show at the bottom anybody that you're sharing this wallet with. And in my case, it's myself and Matt. So that's it for the parents' wallet. These little bell notifications at the top. So these that we have here are just if you want to customize your kid's card. So like if I wanted to customize Gracie's card, it lets you choose a photo and they'll send a card with their picture on it for $9.99. We didn't do any of that. We like the green card just fine. It looks nice. And then the only other notification up here is that you can refer a friend to get $10 off. We haven't messed with any of that. So the only thing left is to look at the individual accounts for your kids, right? So you can see at a glance right here, the name of the kids, the background that you've put for each individual one. You can choose whatever image you want to upload there. And then you can see how much they have available to spend, how much they have in their savings, and how much they have in their give account. So if you tap on one of them, you can see at the top that there's a list of options for spend, save, give, and earn. So under spend, you can have actually different types of spending accounts. So this is one of the cool things about Greenlight is that you can have it set to spend anywhere, which is actually what we usually use. And if I wanted to give my kids money to spend anywhere, I would just tap on spend anywhere and then tap the amount of money. And again, using the green link, you can enter in a specific amount if you want to give them a specific amount. This is how we pay them out for their allowances. So I'll show you how that works here shortly, but this would be how we would pay them. You can also make an option down in the settings that any change stays here, or any change goes to their savings, or any change comes back to you, the parent, into your parent wallet. So that means like if you give them $20 to spend at the store and they only spend $15, then the remaining $5, you could choose where that goes. Does it stay in their spend anywhere account? Does it go to their savings account, or does it come back to you? And then you can see recent activity under that specific account. So that's the spend anywhere account. And again, this is going to be where we go to pay out their weekly allowance. So at the top, you have your spend anywhere account, but beneath that, you're going to have different kinds of specific spending accounts. So you can have a spending account to use only at ATMs, to use only at gas stations, grocery stores, restaurants. We have one for online gaming, and you can add other specific stores or categories that you want them to be able to shop with. So for example, if I were to add money into the ATM account and I added $10 in there, then they would have $10, and that would only be available to spend at ATMs. And somehow the card knows the difference. It knows when they're using it at that specific location. So it's kind of a cool thing if you just want to give them money that's only allowed to be used or able to be used at, say, gas stations or ATMs. You can specify that by adding money to that spending account. Or you can just use the spend anywhere. You can see what the card looks like up in this top left area. So this is what it looks like organically without adding a picture to it. I think it looks kind of cool. It's got the little chip on it, so it uses the chip reader at the grocery stores or wherever you take them to use it. And it is an official MasterCard, so it should work anywhere. And you can see that by tapping the card in that top left-hand corner, you can turn the card off or keep it on. So if you wanted to turn it off, you don't want them to be able to use it for a while, then you can do that there from your parent account. It's also worth noting when you first set up the card, this is where it'll show when it's active and when it's not active. So this was helpful for us when we were setting it up. It did say off initially until we went in and activated the card, and then it immediately switched to on. So this is the spending account. If you tap on save, you can also set up various savings accounts. So this is also kind of cool because the kids can save up for specific things that they want to save up for. She's saving up for a hair appointment. She's saving up for a water bottle that she wanted from Starbucks. And as a parent, if you want to encourage their savings, you can also set up a paid interest percentage. You can set up whatever you would want that interest percentage to be so that you're kind of giving them a little extra incentive. If you save up $10, then I'll pay so much percentage monthly. And then it'll disperse that amongst all of their savings accounts. So if they have like 5 different savings accounts, it'll disperse the interest at that percentage for each one of their savings accounts. So if you tap on any one of these savings accounts that they're saving up for, you can click to move money in, and it'll ask how much you're wanting to transfer over into their savings account and where it's going to come from. So you can transfer money from their Spend Anywhere account. You can transfer money from one of their other savings accounts, or you can transfer money directly from your parents' wallet into any specific savings account. So for example, if I wanted to give my daughter money to go toward her water bottle savings, her goal you can see is $20. I could tap to move money in, and when you tap the arrow for move money from, you can see you have the option to move from her Spend Anywhere account or to transfer from your parents' wallet. So you see where it says roundups, ask first. So there's a setting that you can use to, anytime they spend something, you can have them round up to the next dollar and put that money into the savings account. So the settings for this are to ask before transferring the roundups to the savings, to always round up. So if they go to the store and they spend $45.50, then the remaining 50 cents would automatically be put into this general savings account. Or you can put to never round up. It makes it a little bit easier for them to save without actually having to go in and transfer money and save, and just kind of do it organically if the spare money is put in there. So that's an option. And then we have the giving account. So it says right here, you can use your Greenlight card to donate to a charity. Funds will be deducted from your giving balance. So down below, you can choose a category from the list below or pick a charity on your own. You can search for a charity. It's like whatever your family happens to value or whatever your kids want, if you want to let them choose one. We haven't actually used this yet, but it looks like it works very similar to the savings. So you can still move money in. If you click the arrow, you can choose where you want to move it in from. You can send it directly from your wallet. They can transfer it to this giving account from their Spend Anywhere checking or debit card account, or from a specific savings account. You can select, of course, the amount that you want to transfer over. And then based on whatever charity they've chosen, the money would go to that location. So these are the 3 areas where their money will go: their spend, their save, or their give accounts. So you kind of get an idea of how those work, how you get money into them, how you move money around. As a parent, you can set parameters that allow them to take money out of their savings and put it in their spend account, or to have to ask permission before they move money from their savings. So all of that is within your parental control. Okay, so we've gone through the spend, save, give, and places to put the money once it comes into your kids. But this is where things get cool. It's under the earn section. So this is where you can start incorporating chores and tasks into this whole financial system. So right at the top, you can select to set an allowance. Now, I don't personally use this one because we like to get intricate with our chore list to where each chore is worth a certain amount, which encourages them to not like argue over who's going to do what, and to incentivize them hopefully to do more of the little things. But I can definitely see where the allowance could be very beneficial to people. So if you tap on the Set an Allowance button, you're able to set how much you want to send and how frequently. So you can choose what day of the week, you can choose every 2 weeks, you can choose monthly, and then where you want that money to go. So it can go to their Spend Anywhere debit account, it can go to their general savings, to their giving account, or you can split it up by percentages to where like 50% goes to their Spend Anywhere, 40% to savings, or however you choose to adjust that. And then again, it notifies you if your auto funding is off, because if it's set set to auto pay allowance every week, then you need to have auto paying turned on your parent wallet to make sure that the money is there being funded so that you can transfer it to the kids. You can save this allowance to where it'll just automatically go off whatever days you have set, or you can click the button below to save allowance and add weekly chores. So the way that this works is if you add the weekly chores, as the kids do the chores, they tick them off on their own app, on their own interface that's on their own phones, right? So as they do like vacuuming the floors, then they would tap the little check button indicating that they did that. So if some things that you put on the weekly allowance or chores are not ticked off, then it's going to hold their allowance and notify you. So then you can go and double check or make sure that things are done or wait until they get done before you actually pay out the allowance. So for us, we only use the chores section at the bottom, and we've had to get a little bit scrappy with this. This is where there are some things that I wish functioned a little bit differently, but I'm going to show you how this works. So there are weekly chores that you can set up, or there are one-time chores. Now the weekly chores are going to repeat every single week, and you'll be able to see, the days of the week. So if you want to go back and tally them up, but either way, they're going to repeat on whatever days that you set them for. If you go to options, you can edit the weekly chores, you can add a weekly chore. So if I were to add a weekly chore that said mow the lawn, we don't have a lawn, so I'm just doing this as an example, and tapped next. It allows you to set what days of the week you want them to do it. So in order to get their allowance, if you have it set up automatically, they would have to have ticked off whatever days of the week you've established that it needs to be done. Because we don't use the allowance that's automatically paid out, and we do want them to have the ability to check off chores every single day, we usually just keep everything checked, even if it's something we only want done once a week. That way, if we don't care if they do it on Tuesdays or if they do it on Wednesdays or Thursdays or whenever, we just have it available on their task list every single day, and then they check it off as they do it. So I'm going to hit the X to make that one go away. But you can see you can just get as specific as you want with when you want things done. This is where we had to get scrappy because the weekly chores do not pay out automatically. So unlike the one-time chores, which I'll show you in a second, where you can actually schedule a specific amount to be paid out per chore, the weekly chores do not. They just keep cycling, and they're, I think, intended to be set up with the allowance system instead of being paid out for each one. But we wanted to do each one. So what we did is when we typed in the names, we just put dash and then whatever that amount is for, and then we manually add that up at the end of the week based on who did what. Whenever we go in to look at what chores were done, when we get to this screen and we look back over the past days, the chores that are done are the ones with the lines through them, and we'll just add them up. So this is like $2.10 and 60 cents, and we'll just add up all of the numbers over the past week, and it only shows you a week's worth in here, and then it stops. So every Friday we'll go through, we'll add up whatever was checked off for the past week, and then we go into their spend anywhere, and we add in whatever that custom amount is under spend anywhere, add amount. So this is how we have chosen to do that. That is the weekly chores. The one-time chores are kind of cool because you can actually schedule an amount to go with them. So I could put the name of the chore, a description of the chore, when I want it due by, and then the amount. And when I hit save, let me go over to one that we already have. So whenever she checks this off, I'll get a notification saying, Abigail has done the windows and sliding doors. Do you want to pay out the $2? And if I click yes, then it automatically goes to her account. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go in at the end of the week and add it up. She taps it. I get a notification. I click a button. The money goes to her. So one-time chores, I feel like the setup for one-time chores is ideal just because of the simplicity of when they check the box, they get the money. I get a notification, so of course I can double check to make sure it was actually done, but it's very simple. There's no going in at the end of the week and adding things up like there is with this weekly chore system that we've set up. And, in the future, maybe we decide to go the allowance route to where they're just required to do the things on the list. But because of the types of chores we have and the system that we have set up with the girls and their chores, this just works better for us. Like Abigail does the trash. Gracie doesn't do the trash. So we just put this on every single day. It shows trash. And whenever she actually takes it out, she taps that she took it out. And if she doesn't tap it, then that means that the trash didn't need to be taken out that day. So this is how we use it. And then, yeah, every Friday we come in here, we tap on the weekly chores, we add up everything that's been marked out. And then if we have one-time chores come up, things like, cleaning the windows or the sliding doors or extra things that I want to give them the opportunity to make more money for, especially when one of the girls has a birthday party coming up that they want to go to and they want extra money, I'll try to think of little different immediately paid out one-time chores to do around the house to help them to earn that money more quickly. So that's it. This is how we use the Greenlight app. Again, ideally in the future, if they could make the weekly chores available to have an actual amount set for them, because like I said, we entered this dash $2 ourselves. That doesn't really have a dollar amount attached to it. That's just part of the title that we've entered. So in the future, if they're able to actually set a dollar amount to that and save us from having to do any kind of math at the end of the day, or even to pay it out immediately, but still cycle it every week or every whatever days we want, that would be ideal. But right now, this is how we're working it.
Now, yes, this has really helped to free up a lot of time for me, time from nagging or reminding or that weekly repetition of the same chores, having to repeat them and write them out the same every single week, as well as time saved and not having to clean up after everyone else so much because now the kids are incentivized to do it themselves. But it's not necessarily going to help you find the time to declutter and create spaces on your own end, the things that you're wanting to do yourself that maybe you're too busy to get around to. For that, you're going to want to watch this video called How to Find the Time to Declutter. So go check that out and let me know what you think.